Game number 2, everyone drives down really. That's the beauty of being either on the North Island or the South Island of New Zealand. You don't have to necessarily jump on a flight. Auckland and Hamilton, Wellington, Mount Maunganui, they're all very, very accessible, and it's one of the prettier parts of the country where we'll head. We'll just have to keep our fingers crossed that some of these black clouds don't also get into that car and head down there to spoil the second game, which will effectively be the first game of the series. First and foremost, looking ahead at the venue, Parthiv, you've been there before. It's home to 4 New Zealand cricketers, including the likes of Kane Williamson, Trent Boult, Colin de Grandhomme.
Yeah, absolutely. I've been there. It was a wonderful place. I played India A game, rather, the 4-day game. Wonderful ground, wonderful place. The hotel's very nice there. Sort of proper tourist place. So yeah, the players would enjoy it, but they would be wanting to, play the game out there. They don't want to, sit in the hotel or to have a city tour or go on a mountain trip. They would be wanting to go out there and play. Because it's a lovely wicket to bat on. It's probably one of the flattest wicket. Grounds big, not the usual small grounds which we see in New Zealand. So yeah, hopefully we get a game there.
Yeah, New Zealand have a good record there. 5 out of 7 they've won. The only 2 they've lost, 1 to Pakistan, 1 to India, and the India game, you were there.
Yes, it's a lovely venue. It's not a stadium. It's got a lot of grass mounds and it's a more relaxed environment there. They actually put up temporary tents there for the teams when they do come in. You do find when you get to the ground, a lot of the time before the series starts, native New Zealanders, Aboriginals, they have all come there and they have this small ceremony and all of that. So it's a ground that is owned by the native New Zealanders and leased out to New Zealand cricket, and it's got a lot of culture and heritage. It's a lovely wicket, like Parthiv just said, to bat on. Ball comes on beautifully, generally high scoring matches. They even played a test match there and some big scores were there in that as well. So it's a good ground to bat on, but a ground that New Zealand has fancied over a period of time because they have a good record there.
Yeah, well, we're not going to talk too much about the forecast because we like to wait to get as close as possible. Remember, India-Pakistan in Melbourne, it was the worst possible forecast. People were already almost thinking of not coming to Melbourne if there was a possibility, but somehow the gods intervened and said this is a big fixture, and they dusted the clouds away, and after that the rain came right back. So 3 games washed out over there. So while there is a little talk of some sprinklings around that venue, we won't look too far ahead of that. Instead, from a cricketing point of view, once again hitting the reset button, going to a new venue. Yes, they'll look at New Zealand's history there, they'll look at that, and maybe they'll say that, okay, fine, if we have to start off, let's not start off in difficult fashion with the wind and all the factors that we talked about earlier that would have gone against us, be it a bowler or a batsman.
Yeah, I think they would be. I'm sure Indian players would be enjoying going to that ground. But see, numbers are there. Numbers are in New Zealand's favor. But as a player, you don't look into it. You don't say what has happened in the past. We always look forward. We always try and stay in present. And I'm sure there's players who have gone there are experienced enough to understand that. Because now with having experience of playing in IPL teams, they know that a lot of numbers been thrown at them. So there could be it's that day that matters the most. What can you do there and then? So I'm sure they would be looking forward to it. But yeah, in history is history. Those were the past games. Now I think this game today that matters the most.
And once again, obviously, I know it's a change of venue, and we've sort of had our own opinions on the possible 11s. Doesn't necessarily change with the conditions. Maybe the odd fast bowler here and there might change, but otherwise you're just looking to start afresh?
I think so. I think whatever 11 Hardik and Lachibhai have decided for this game will pretty much be the same 11. I don't think it'll change so much. Nothing is going to change drastically. As I said, the context for this series is more about understanding individuals and giving them the opportunities. So that would in turn mean that they try and stick to what their ideas were before the start of this game. And I'm pretty sure that whatever they had decided as 11 will still be the same 11 going into this game as well. And you need to give opportunities to players, and I think you would definitely see a bit of rotation. I understand there's just 2 T20s now, not a lot to play for, but you would understand if they give opportunities to quite a few guys to obviously give them the chance to go out there and perform in international cricket.
What we haven't spoken about, of course, is the home side. New Zealand, we've focused so much about India and all those players missing out from the World Cup squad, new look faces, stand-in captain, possibility of someone like Umran Malik getting a go. But what about New Zealand themselves? A couple of their names missing as well. 13-man squad as typically you would for a home series. And once again, the one common factor, Parthiv, 3 wicket keepers.
3 wicket keepers, yeah. The wicket keepers are scoring runs. The wicket keepers are good batters all over the world nowadays. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, they look a balanced side. Obviously, Bolt has decided to, not to sign that New Zealand contract, and he's going to play T20 leagues in the world. So that is something which is a development which was talked about, and probably there will be few who might just join that league as well. But yeah, I mean, having said that, New Zealand always has that squad. If you look at the team, you will not get that glaring superstar out of that, but they always have that team that which plays together kind of thing. So yeah, they would be looking forward to it as well. Teams how the Lockie Ferguson recently now from Gujarat Titans has gone to KKR, so those are the things would be he would be keeping in mind how other players are playing. But yeah, I mean, they won't be worrying about too much. They are balanced side in New Zealand.
Yeah, one person who didn't get a go in the New Zealand side and was expected to in the World Cup was of course Martin Guptill, and as a follow-up he continues to lose his place, this time in the 13. They're really banking a lot on Phil Allen up front with Devon Conway, and of course now Glenn Phillips adding to the mix in the middle order.
Yes, I think they're a very potent side. They're a side which always punches a little above their weight, especially in knockout tournaments. In bilaterals, they're probably not the same force that they are in an ICC tournament. Mainly because of the names that you would just end up seeing, they wouldn't come glaring at you in your face, but they know, and they very well know how to perform in ICC tournaments. They kind of come together as a unit and do well, and they've been the most consistent team in ICC tournaments in this decade. I think they've been a finalist or a semi-finalist almost everywhere, and went on to win the inaugural World Test Championship as well. A name that stands out for me is Adam Milne, because he's coming back after an injury. He can bowl some serious heat as well, so it'll be very interesting to see if both Adam Milne and Lockie Ferguson do end up playing together. That will be a rather sharp attack, so to say. They always have their banker Tim Southee, who's been around for a long time. But I also think it's going to be very interesting to see how many of these players go on to play the 2024 T20 World Cup. You would find a few notable exclusions as time goes on. But at this point of time, as we sit, we see a big name missing out, Trent Bolt. Yes, he's chosen to go on and let go of the contract and play outside leagues. But that is in turn made the selectors look at him and go, okay, so we need to prioritize people who want the contract. So they're obviously giving opportunities in a big way to people who are more part of their setup. I'm sure when the big tournament comes, Trent Bolt will be an absolute look-in. But in the bilaterals, they also want to see at other players as well.
Yeah, and at the start, we were talking about New Zealand not always producing express pace. They have two in this particular squad, but Blair Tickner again goes back to your typical New Zealand right-arm medium pace.
Yeah, he does. I mean, that's what you do when you're selecting a team. You try and pick variety. So you have pace in Adam Milne and Lockie Ferguson, and you have swing in someone like Tim Southee, and then Blair Tickner is someone who would tall and who would be hitting that short of a length, which he always does. So that's something you always do. And they have a spinner, they have a centner and Ish Sodhi, both very good spinners. So all in all, they have all-round bowling attack with a lot of variety. Yes, they don't have a lefty fast bowler, but still I think they have enough variety in this bowling lineup.